There are 5 simple ways that can help prevent the development of cancer, and each of us can do them. For example, I do this all the time. And there is one method that can reduce the likelihood of developing metastatic cancer, by 72%.
Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
Watch this video until the end, and you'll definitely find out about it. What is the most powerful way to prevent cancer? It's our proper nutrition. And at the top of the list is eating a large amount of fresh vegetables. Well, you can also have them steamed or boiled, by the way, but never fried. What does a typical lunch look like? Here it is. So, in an average family, yes, rice, carbohydrates that are quickly absorbed. How much space does it take up? 70% of the plate, right? Or 60% of the plate. Next to it, there's a piece of meat, a cutlet, chicken, whatever you like. And then a tiny little cucumber looking rather sad, squeezed in somewhere on the side. Unfortunately, that's what our table usually looks like. If yours looks the same, give this video a like. All of this is washed down either with cold water, which you should never do under any circumstances. You should never, ever wash down your food with cold water, especially not with cold soda.
Don't do that again.
What are you doing? You're reducing your enzymatic activity. You're lowering the efficiency of your body's food breakdown systems. So what happens to us then? So we have proteins, especially those that aren't cooked very well, like fried, steamed, and so on. Well, actually, steamed is fine. It's really the fried ones, right? And carbohydrates, with a complete lack of so-called complex carbohydrates. And most importantly, fiber. The absence of fiber and the predominance of large amounts of fast-digesting carbohydrates, sweets, pastries, all that. This leads to a decrease in the number of bacteria that synthesize the essential nutrients we need to live. And the bacteria that begin to develop are those that synthesize substances leading to foci of chronic inflammation in the body. This chronic inflammation leads to breakdowns and mutations. And it is precisely this mutation that underlies the development of cancer. That is, the immune system becomes weakened, the bacteria can't cope, mutations occur, and ultimately over a long period of time. This leads to the development of cancer. Second, along with vegetables, there should be just as much greens as vegetables. So what does that mean? It means parsley, green onions, green garlic, cilantro, celery, and so on. They contain a large amount of so-called flavonoids, or as they're also called, cancer preventers. In other words, substances that stop the development of cancer. Here, for example, is polyphenol. There is such a substance, flavonoid. It is contained in huge, simply prohibitive quantities only in greens. Therefore, there should be greenery on your table all year round. And let's look at the long livers of the Caucasus. Spain, France, they all eat greens in large quantities. For example, how to eat properly. Armenian shashlik. I had an Armenian resident and he taught us exactly how to eat properly. Armenian shashlik. You need to first eat a plate of greens, walk for 5 to 10 minutes, and then eat meat. And then this meat will simply be processed efficiently and you will get the maximum amount of useful information from it. If you just eat meat and wash it down with cold soda, you will seriously harm yourself. Maybe even in the short term, but definitely 100% over your whole life if you keep doing this all the time. I have favorite salads that I absolutely love. I eat them almost every day, no matter where I am. I'm ready to share some of their recipes with you on my Telegram channel. The link to the Telegram channel is in the description below this video. Third, water. Drink water, eat water, and you'll stay forever young. There's a saying like that. Where's my water? By the way, where is my water? There are so many types of water, all different, and it's really cool when you start to notice the differences in taste. Like, this bottled water is one kind, that bottled water is another. One is better, another is worse. How does it affect the prevention of cancer? November 2022, in Nature, in Kyiv, an article is published in the highest rated journal in the world. It says that increased viscosity of fluids leads to the development of metastases in cancer. Imagine a glass of water and put in there 9 spoonfuls of sugar, 10 spoonfuls of sugar. What will it become? It will turn into a gel. The viscosity increases. You can dissolve salt too, and that also increases viscosity. And there they showed directly that when a tumor grows, it starts to compress the lymphatic vessels, disrupting the outflow of fluid. This leads to an increase in its viscosity, which serves as a signal to trigger metastasis. And what's most interesting is that they tried at that moment to dilute the fluid, to reduce the viscosity, to lower the density of the water, to lower the density of the fluid, but it didn't help.
It didn't work out.
But the metastases had already started, meaning that very point of no return had been crossed. Attention, point number 4, water, water, water. All right, but just 10 minutes ago, I was talking to a woman who said, I drink a lot of water and I wake up with swelling in the morning. Why does this happen? One of the most common reasons is an electrolyte imbalance. That is, we have this thing called the heart. Cells have what's called a sodium-potassium pump, which pumps potassium into the cell and pumps sodium out of the cell. And thanks to this balance, every cell in our body functions. If, for some reason, this sodium-potassium pump stops working, and the most common reason is a deficiency of potassium, that's how it works. That's why it's very important to consume electrolytes, to get potassium, for example, from various foods. Some of the most common sources are, say, cucumbers, regular cucumbers, pickled cucumbers, and lightly salted cucumbers all contain a large amount of potassium. If you don't have the opportunity to replenish with fresh vegetables, you can always buy electrolytes at the pharmacy, such as Regidron, Regidrovit, or Rehydro, and take them from time to time. This is to replenish potassium, this sodium-potassium balance in our body. And the fifth thing is truly amazing. Physical activity. Anaerobic physical exercise reduces the risk of developing metastatic cancer by 72%. These are just explosive findings that were published in 2022. When I sent them to my colleague and friend, Professor Georgi Valentinovich Cherepnev, he replied with just one word. When he read this article, wow, exclamation mark. Ride a bike, do burpees, jump rope, just 10 to 15 minutes a day. And your risk of developing metastatic cancer will decrease by 72%. These are the results obtained from several thousand patients.